For this movie, Jason Momoa specifically requested Temuera Morrison, one of Momoa's acting idols, for the role of Arthur's father, Tom Curry. So Aquaman is one of those DC movies that I actually think is actually quite a fun, well done movie. DC hasn't been putting out really good stuff for a pretty long time, but when I saw Aquaman, I actually thought there's going to be a little bit of hope for DC. There are a lot of good things going on in this movie, but there are a couple things in the movie that I don't like, but I will share those at the end of the review. First reason I like this movie is I like Jason Momoa's portrayal of Arthur. We all know that Jason Momoa was mainly cast for the women. You know, he's a huge jacked dude, but he's also a funny guy, and it's that really good balance between kind of the seriousness and the comedic aspect of a guy who knows he's got all these cool powers or whatever, but he doesn't really take life too seriously. But I just like that he's not a super serious character, but he can also kick butt at the same time. I actually like this storyline. The rightful ruler of Atlantis, and he's coming back to regain his throne. He's got to deal with being an outsider. He's got to fight his half-brother. There's a lot of stuff in his past that he's going to have to face, but it's really just well crafted out, and I just like seeing the storyline of someone when they realize like their birthright and they come and they regain it. The biggest thing I liked the most about this movie was the graphics. The graphics just were spectacular. I mean, underwater shots, all the different creatures, and just how everything looked. Like, you could tell they really didn't waste their budget when it came to making this movie look as spectacular as possible. I did think it was interesting that James Wan was tapped to be the director for this movie, because 90% of the time James Wan is directing some kind of horror movie, and he gets picked to direct a comic book movie. And I think it was a very interesting challenge for James Wan, but you could see there were some horror aspects that he really got to have fun with. One of my favorite shots in the movie is actually where Mera and Aquaman are diving into the trench. There's this red glow, and there's just thousands of those creatures from the trench that are going after him. I mean, it's such a beautiful shot, but it definitely gave me a little more James Wan vibes. I also like the villain in this movie. Black Manta was a really well-rounded villain. I mean, it's pretty typical, you know, his father gets killed, he blames Aquaman. I like Black Manta's performance. I like his presence on screen. Just how far he's willing to go to get revenge on Aquaman. I might be in the minority here, but I felt like the chemistry between Momoa Heard and Jason Momoa wasn't really there. I think they had good chemistry when it's like buddy stuff, like they're messing around with each other, having fun, but I didn't feel any like love connection between them. It just seemed that they're trying to make it a little more than what it is, and their chemistries just didn't match on screen. But that's my personal opinion. That's really the only negative thing I have to say. It's a movie that you shouldn't take too seriously, but it really is just a fun ride. So for Aquaman, I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 Mudflaps. Remember, leave me a thumbs up and drop in the comments below, what did you think of Aquaman? See you next time.